Welcome to Timekeeping. This show will attempt to chronicle year-by-year changes to the Walt Disney World Resort, from the excitement of a new ride opening to the minutia of a store changing names. Join us as we continue our celebration of 50 years of the vacation kingdom of the world. Looking back, 2008 was a year defined by the financial crisis, but at Walt Disney World, the year started with promise. An old park received a brand new name, a new marquee attraction, and a new parade. Elsewhere, old staples would close, while others received important updates. Starting in Town Square at the Magic Kingdom, the Chapeau expanded to take over the storefront next to it, displacing a Disney Vacation Club information center, which was moved to Fantasyland. The Grand Marshal vehicle that was used to showcase the guests chosen to lead the parade, often the family of the day, was replaced by a new touring car that was now wheelchair accessible and had some really cool Mickey Mouse tires. Furthering accessibility, the bridge between the Hub and Liberty Square was replaced with a lower grade version that reopened on August 30th. In anticipation of a new president, the Hall of Presidents closed prior to the election in order to prepare for a completely new show. The Frontierland Fry Wagon was removed in September. Castle Couture, selling princess merchandise, would take over a portion of Tinkerbell's Treasures, opening on November 22nd. Over at Mickey's Toontown Fair, Pixie Hollow opened on October 24th, just in time to coincide with the Tinkerbell film's release the next Tuesday. Located inside the Toontown Hall of Fame meet and greet building, guests could meet Tinkerbell and her friends introduced in the film: Iridessa, Rosetta, Silver Mist, and Fawn. In February, Epcot's newly refurbished Spaceship Earth was finally completed when triangular platforms above the cars were added to give guests something to view in the descent. In the Project Tomorrow post-show, Intervision opened in January. In Innoventions, there were several significant changes. The Fantastic Plastic Works would close in March, and the 25th Anniversary Gallery would close after a year of operation. Also closing this year was the Great American Farm and Too Small to See. Opening in Innoventions East was Don't Waste It, a series of interactive elements presented by Waste Management. This was a personal favorite of mine as you got to wheel around a tiny interactive garbage truck. On August 26th, Stormstruck debuted, a 3D experience on designing homes to withstand hurricanes. Meanwhile, the Slapstick Studios exhibit by Velcro opened in Innoventions West, a entertainment-style show themed to Velcro. In the Mexico Pavilion, El Rio del Tiempo, the opening day boat ride attraction, would close on January 2nd, 2007. On April 6, 2007, the Grand Fiesta Tour starring the Three Caballeros took its place. The layout of the ride had not changed, but now featured the story of Jose, Panchito, and Donald preparing for a concert. Of course, Donald Duck has gone missing. Jose, Carioca, and Panchito Pistoles chase him through different scenes as comic vignettes are added to the screens. All this new feature animation was added to real-life scenes of Mexico, much of which was newly filmed, some of which existed previously in the old attraction. Some of those vignettes included Donald losing his bathing suit while water skiing, or the birds on the flying serape being threatened by a chef who's not quite looking at them. The ride, of course, concluded with the Caballeros performing their titular song as animated characters on a screen. This will change a couple years later. Also in World Showcase, Norway saw the Viking ship playground area completely removed. Meanwhile, Nine Dragons underwent a significant refurbishment and redecoration, also introducing a wildly different menu, including shrimp taro lollipops. The Disney MGM Studios officially changed its name to Disney's Hollywood Studios just after the start of the new year. After years of inconsistent use of the MGM name in marketing and promotional materials, the new name could be used throughout, leading to less confusion. Some signage had begun to change prior to the beginning of the year, but others would continue, with the Earful Tower repainted later, and the new sign above the Animation Courtyard archway finally coming for May 1st, the park's anniversary. On January 30th, Playhouse Disney Live on Stage received a completely new update, now featuring Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, Handy Manny, Little Einsteins, and My Friends Tigger and Pooh. The show begins with the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse portion, with the characters appearing as puppets and singing their theme song while celebrating Minnie's birthday. The other shows are summoned via Toodles, the mouse-head-shaped Deus Ex Machina device used in Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. They summon Handy Manny, the Little Einsteins, and My Friends Tigger and Pooh characters to tell stories as part of the birthday party. Each set of characters has a background in the form of a book that changes, and all are puppet-based characters. Early in the year, in preparation for Pixar Place, there were several meet-and-greet location changes. Monsters, Inc. characters were moved to the old exit area of the studio backlot tour at the end of January. The Cars characters received a new area themed to Luigi's Garage, which is located just behind Muppet Vision 3D, next to the Premier Theater. And Sorcerer Mickey moved inside the animation building on March 20th. A living character Wall-E meet-and-greet experience with an audio-animatronic character that could freely roam was planned. In fact, the photo op backdrop was installed, but the character never showed up. Reportedly, this was due to the fact that it weighed over 1,000 pounds, and if it ran over someone's foot, well, that would be pretty bad. The character did finally appear publicly at the D23 Expo the next year. Block Party Bash, a Pixar-based parade, officially debuted on March 14th after a few days of previews. The parade began with the Toy Story units, led off by primary color-clad dancers, pushing and surrounding a giant block introducing the parade, followed by army men atop a float made of alphabet building blocks. This was trailed by 2 traffic cones with scooters attached to them. Mr. Potato Head, Woody, Jesse, and the gang led the next large float that featured Tinker Toys holding Buzz in his ship and green aliens and a variety of static secondary Toy Story characters as decor. More blocks would go by, and then beginning the Monsters, Inc. unit. Boo, Mike, Sully, and other monsters danced aboard and around a float made of doors and scream canisters that had random monster parts peeking in and out of panels. This was followed by a trampoline float before an introduction to the next set of units themed to A Bug's Life, with a large spinning Heimlich in a saxophone leading the circus cookie box car, with Flick, Ada, and others dancing. The parade was less of a parade and more of a traveling show, as the primary function was a very long show stop with a number of dance numbers and interactive features that would happen at 2 planned stops. As a surprise towards the end of the show, the Incredibles would emerge on platforms that are raised out of the floats. If the parade looked familiar to you, well, that's because it was introduced at Disney California Adventure in 2005 as part of the Happiest Homecoming on Earth, and then moved its way to Disney's Hollywood Studios in 2008. Meanwhile, California Adventure would receive the popular Pixar Play Parade. Pixar definitely began to dominate the parks this year as Toy Story Midway Mania soft opened on May 2nd with an official opening date on May 31st. The attraction was built into the newly renamed Pixar Place, themed after Pixar's headquarters. The attraction itself has guests shrunk down to the size of a toy and enter Andy's bedroom while he's away to play with his new Carnival playset and the toys from the film. After passing through a queue made of oversized toys, an audio animatronic Mr. Potato Head that would interact with guests and even remove his ear, guests would then board vehicles and don those 3D game glasses to participate in a series of shooter games. The car-mounted spring-action shooter cannons would fire pies, eggs, darts, rings, or even balls at the targets in the various game vignettes. There are 6 games at opening, each hosted by different characters and featuring different targets that display the points each is worth. These targets can vary from actual targets to balloons or plates depending on the game. The ride vehicle spins between the screen-based scenes, and at the end, guests can compare their scores to the vehicle and see their score compared to the best this hour, the best that day, and the best all time. The ride featured Fast Pass and for a brief period even had a single rider line. Soon after the ride's opening, the Hey Howdy Hey takeaway counter service restaurant opened as a snack location just across the street. On June 24th, the Narnia exhibit was updated to feature the second film in the series, Prince Caspian. The High School Musical 2 show was replaced to represent the third film in the series, with the new one being Right Here, Right Now. That happened on October 24th. 2006 was also the last year that Super Soap Weekends was held at the studios. It's worth noting it had been gone for several years at this point. Over at Disney's Animal Kingdom, Pocahontas and Her Forest Friends, the opening day show featuring small North American creatures and the Pocahontas characters, would close in Camp Mini Mickey on September 27th. This was a budgetary change. There was no replacement planned. Several hotels underwent significant refurbishments in 2008. Disney's Contemporary Resort added the Wave of American Flavors in the former home of the Food and Fun Center on June 7th, and they would close the Concourse Steakhouse on October 14th to open the quick-service Contempo Cafe in short order on November 11th. Despite significant vertical construction being well underway, Disney finally acknowledged the construction of Bay Lake Tower with its official announcement on September 16th. Fort Wilderness upgraded some of its locations to larger premium campsites and refurbished the pool and play area. The Grand Floridian saw significant lobby and common area refurbishment that saw new tile placed featuring Disney characters. Sea Racer rentals were added to the watercraft fleet at the Magic Kingdom Resort hotels this year as well. Downtown Disney would go through another reimagining in 2008. The Rock and Roll Beach Club would close permanently on February 2nd on Pleasure Island. In June, it was announced that the rest of Pleasure Island's clubs would close on September 27th, which would be the final night of operation for 8 tracks, the BET Soundstage, Mannequins, Motion, Comedy Warehouse, and of course, the Adventurers Club, though the latter was available to be hired for private functions for some time after. Look up our Stage 89 event, kids. These closures at Pleasure Island were met with an announcement of a whole new area for downtown Disney called Hyperion Wharf. This would never happen. Curl would replace Superstar Studios on Pleasure Island during that year, while Design-A-Tee, part of the Hanes sponsorship deal that included Rock and Roller Coaster, opened at the far end of the marketplace. The T-Rex Cafe, operated by Landry's, the same people that brought you the Rainforest Cafe, officially opened on October 14th. Disney's Wide World of Sports complex announced that it would be rebranded to ESPN this year. They also announced a 100-lane bowling alley, but that was soon after canceled due to the financial crisis. While the additions to the rebranded Disney's Hollywood Studios started the year with significant promise, the year ended being dominated by the financial crisis, not just for Disney World, but for the world as a whole. The impact was so immediate on attendance that deals such as buy 4 days, get a full week were added that not only included tickets, but hotels and dining offers as well. This is possibly the most significant discount the resort has ever offered, even post 9/11. The fallout from the crisis would see many other changes, and the proposed bowling alley would just be the tip of the iceberg as far as cancellations were concerned. Well, time sure flies. If you're enjoying this jump from time to time with us, please hit the like button and please subscribe for this program and others. You can support this show and others by joining the WDWNT Inner Globe Society at patreon.com/WDWNT. To get the perfect gear to celebrate 50 years of Walt Disney World, you can shop at carouselofproducts.com. We'll see you real soon right here on Timekeeping.